Before we begin, thank you very much to Jazz for joining the Patreon campaign. Normally the shoutouts are really weird and really fun, and that one is really weird, but it's not so much fun, is it? Because it's, it's a scene of a character's death, and I don't know how to feel about that, because on one hand, it's, you pitched in on Patreon, I'll shout out whatever you put your name down as. On the other hand, it's a really sad moment. So, I'm kind of torn on it, to be honest. But thank you very much for pitching in. I do appreciate it. And since you guys like to hear when the shout out streak is about to end, it's about to end. I am currently sitting at one shout out to go. I'm going to film my next video later tonight, just so I have my Friday completely clear. Yeah, we've got very little left in the tank. So if you want to keep the shout out streak going, now is the time. And I appreciate anyone who pitches in to do so. Okay, we get to talk a lot today. So once in a blue moon, so much new product drops. So many new things are announced. We can't wait for the news roundup. And if I waited for the news roundup, it'd be like a 40-minute news roundup, and I don't want to do that to you guys. For whatever reason, Takara and, in a sense, Hasbro as well, felt like this was the day to drop everything and get a ton of new stuff announced. And what's weird about it is, not only is there a lot of Takara exclusive stuff in here, there's some stuff for the next wave of Legacy United that we haven't even seen from Hasbro yet, which is a really rare circumstance. So we're going to go through it. We're going to talk about all the new reveals that dropped today and just give my thoughts, and we'll do some comparisons too, because there's a lot of repaints from the Takara side. I'm going to do side-by-sides. Well, not side-by-sides. We're going to go back and forth between images, and you're going to actually see exactly what's been going on here. So for starters, they did announce their release of, I can never remember his name offhand because it's dumb, Novocaine. And it's basically the exact same figure as most of the Studio Series tends to be. And we're just getting it out of the way, mostly. Because we also have the Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime Voyager class Studio Series. Seems to be identical to the American release, but of course, they don't exactly have targets in Japan, so this is not going to be an exclusive to them. Truth is, this is probably going to be the easier one to get, because frankly, that whole Target release seemed kind of bungled. Way too much demand for how much they put out. So for a lot of the people who could not get the Target version, this is now going to be the source to get. The only difference seems to be the packaging, which is a completely sealed off box with the actual CG art of Optimus Prime from the movie decorating the front. For a collector's box, it ain't bad. It ain't bad. I would still prefer an open window that was, closed off with plastic, Hasbro. But you know what? I will take it for what it is. Now, I've already got mine. I secured mine. I got the Target release, so I'm good on this one. And yeah, it's not a bad toy at all. So if you want the definitive version of the figure that can actually, transform and all that fun stuff, here you go. It's going to be available through Takara Tomy, or wherever you get your fine Japanese imports. So this is just standard stuff. We have to talk about this because it dropped too. Hasbro decided to drop a few things on us too, and it's the next set of retro reissues for Walmart. And again, just like the previous ones, they follow the theme of being far more cartoon accurate, even though they're using the G1 molds. And the big one to this is we're getting another reissue of Soundwave. And I actually really like the paint scheme on this one. There's a few people out there who just like, well, that gray just doesn't hit. I'm like, that's the color of the cartoon. If anything, it should be white. It should be bright white, but it is like a very off-white, very light gray, whichever one you choose to deem it as. Beyond that, the paint apps are a lot heavier on this one. There's no chrome on the buttons in the center, cartoon accurate. He's got paint applications on the legs to try and replicate those designs from the original cartoon. Heavy yellow border on the windshield, on the deck, on the window, the chest window. You know what I'm talking about. Heavy yellow on there instead of the gold. Nice bright red eyes, which is rare on the original G1 figure. This is a really nice deco. I'm really into this. I've gotten I've got a vintage Soundwave and I've got a reissue Soundwave. I got the Sound Blaster version Soundwave with the dual cassette, which I think is still the best version of that toy. But I would like to pick this one up too, just because it is a really, really nice looking scheme. And I love the idea. I still love this repaint idea of taking the old figures and redoing them like this. Soundwave also comes with Laserbeak and Ravage, and likewise done the same way. Their chrome has been removed. Their designs are tampographed now. Yeah, and they just look really nice and just really solid, cartoony. That's the theme they go for. We look at the alternate mode, the cassette mode of the cassette mode and the cassette player. They look good. Again, you can see where Laserbeak has definitely been kept simple to keep more of that cartoon accuracy going. Definitely creates a different vibe for this toy. And one that I do not mind at all. I actually really like what they're going for here. They did change the packaging. It is no longer 86 movie based. Instead, for the 40th anniversary, they are going straight up retro packaging style, which is actually pretty cool to see. For the people collecting the retro G1 line, this is going to throw off the aesthetic. This is going to throw off your sealed collection if you've got it. But remember, like, reissues like this, they're kind of, I would say almost for the casual collector, for the nostalgia piece that people just want to pick up one of. That's kind of what they go for with the G1 reissues at Walmart. It's supposed to be the toy you remember, and the way you remember them, which is cartoon accuracy in this case. I do like it. I do like it. And alongside Soundwave, once again, Blaster is seeing yet another release at Walmart. I'm pretty sure the first Blaster reissue is still available on Walmart.com right now if you would rather have that one. At first, I couldn't tell exactly how much was changed here, so I did go back and I took a look at the original reissue, at least the most recent reissue, and there is quite a bit of difference. The black has been swapped out for a dark gray, the beige for the legs has been swapped out for a more silvery gray, more steel kind of gray color. The eyes are done in blue rather than the yellow here, and they also changed up the chest. There's a tampographed Autobot symbol, as well as a design inside his chest as well, to make him look a little bit more solid. And of course, the details on the legs have changed to be more cartoon accurate as well. So if I flip back, yeah, the designs are way more apparent now. And again, it's definitely giving off a different vibe for this toy. It also comes with Steeljaw. The last time they reissued Blaster, it was literally just Blaster, nothing with it. Nice of them to actually dig up one of his cassettes. And likewise, yeah, cassette player mode looks solid. I like it. I like it a lot. It looks nice. If we go to the box art, yeah, it's done the same way as Soundwave. They are both in the same wave, and they are both coming in at $44.99. So that makes sense because Blaster is a lot bigger, so one cassette as opposed to two. So that balances out well. It'd be cool to see them both on the shelves at the same time. That's kind of cool. What would make me really excited for this would be a third packet for $45. It was just all their missing cassettes. Here's Rumble and Frenzy, here's Buzzsaw, here's Eject, Rewind, and Ramhorn. And maybe that doesn't add up to $44.99, but Hasbro would charge that since it's what they're charging for the main figures themselves. Still, I'd just like to have the more cassettes. I'd love to just have more cassettes available for if we're going to get both of these guys. All right, so let's get into Takara's launches because they announced a ton of stuff too. So first off, we are finally getting a Ghost Starscreen from the Earthrise mold. Now, funny enough, this is another Beast Wars Again 2-pack, and I honestly thought they were going to be done with these because, of course, you're done. They did it. Like, they did all of the available combinations, right? So they got all 7 Season 1 Maximals and all 7 Season 1 Predacons released in these 2-packs, but they found a way to do one more, which is, of course, Starscreen. Of course, I don't have to give you the whole round about translucent plastic. What's interesting to me is not all of it is translucent. The plastic that does the heavier lifting or more friction, the palm plastic, is actually still opaque. You can see a lot of the internal parts are still opaque. So the heavy duty stuff, the stuff that's going to be taking a lot of the wear and tear, that stuff is not translucent. So you know they know the translucent stuff does not last as long. This is going to come down to how much money Takara put into the quality of the tampografts, or not the tampografts. I'm thinking about the tampografts right now. The quality of the plastic to see if it actually holds up over time. And of course, we won't know for quite a while. What made me think about the tampografts is the fact that for some reason his Decepticon symbols are red. I can imagine that might change before we get to the final product, but for now it's kind of weird. Jet mode again, similar. Tampografts done solid, and then lots of translucent parts. He looks like a clear jet. He looks like, your basically your standard Starscreen in ghost mode. We've seen plenty of them at this point. The big question here was that it also comes with a Waspinator, which is the only time they've done 2 of the same mold in this line. So what are the differences? Because a lot of people thought this was also going to be completely translucent. That was a false report when this set was first leaked. No, there are differences. If we take a look at the first Beast Wars Again Waspinator, okay, you take note of the brighter green shade, you take note of the bright yellow, take note of the translucent blue. If we hop back over, the paint layout is exactly the same, but the lighter green is now darker than his main color of green. The translucent colors are now purple instead of blue, and we have a shade of gold instead of yellow. So ultimately, it's kind of a shinier version of Waspinator, and between the blue and the purple, there's always kind of a discrepancy about which one is closer to his real colors in the show. Kind of depends on the lighting sometimes. So nice that they actually represented both, and there actually is a decent amount of variation between the two. And here he is in Wasp mode, just so you can get a look at that as well. I don't think this set's going to be for me. I went for the other 7, but this maybe not so much. It's cool that they did it. It's cool that there is a 2-pack of Starscream and Waspinator. Maybe not the most necessary thing, however. What would be, I'm still waiting. Like, pull up the Transmetal and make it Starscream colors. I'm never going to let that go, because that's the most obvious thing they never did. They did announce something else that is completely new, and I'm going to try and quickly pull it up because there is a unique name to this one as well. They announced something called Dramatic Capture Series, which is apparently them putting a multi-pack together that actually captures a famous moment from the series. The first one they did is the Bridge of the Nemesis, which includes 3 Decepticons. First one being Shockwave. And Shockwave looking pretty clean here, and I mean that literally, because it's the Siege Shockwave without his extra kibble parts and without any of the battle damage paint apps thrown in. So it is a very pure edition of Shockwave. If we take a look at the Siege one, you can see the differences are pretty clear here. They have added a little bit more lavender to his hand and gun. The translucent on the chest is a lot more noticeable, and the grays in the legs have been swapped out for like a light gray or a white. You can also see the barrel has been switched out for a very light gray instead of the dark purple that it was in the original. So this is much more accurate to how the original toy actually looked rather than exactly how he looked in the cartoon. In the cartoon, his purple would have been a little bit brighter than this. So there's almost room for them to even do a more cartoon accurate version than this one turned out to be. But if you want a clean, no battle damage version of Siege Shockwave, this is going to be the way to get it, at least for now. And along with Shockwave, there is another reuse of Earthrise Megatron. And to be fair, the Earthrise one I don't think has been pushed quite as heavily as the Siege one, but man, I am so sick of this mold. Whoever at Hasbro and Takara thinks that this is definitive Megatron really needs to stop. We need a brand new one that doesn't have like half of his vehicle mode as a backpack. We need one. I know people don't like the head sculpt on this one. That's subjective. Ultimately, I just don't think it's that great of a figure, and I'd really like a new take on Megatron, please. That said, this is the first time this mold has been available as G1 Megatron with no battle damage on it whatsoever. And it's been a long time coming. It's been way, way overdue. Way overdue. You imagine, it's like 5 years ago this mold first came out, and this is the first time a clean Megatron's been issued. Here's what the original Earthrise Megatron looked like. Much more dull in the color scheme. They didn't paint the red on the side of the belly. They didn't paint all the lights on his stomach. And then, of course, lots of wear and tear on the legs. It's just not as good. Look how much nicer this one is. Look at how nice this one is. It looks like they even might have painted the whole thing silver. Like, it looks much better. This might be the one reason why I get this multi-pack, because I really need that Megatron that is completely, like, you know, intact and not a mess. Then again, then they'll just release like a Studio Series 86 Megatron and completely blow this one out of the water. So I wouldn't be shocked, because that just seems to be what they do. And I'm still surprised the main characters of the franchise still aren't in Studio Series, at least the 86 line. Still, it's going to be a nice alternative if you never got the chance to it, because this one was oddly like short run, weirdly enough. And yeah, if you just need a clean one, it's going to be the way to do it. Also, to tempt you, there is a Soundwave, and it is the Netflix Soundwave, which right now seems to be the definitive Soundwave figure. So on top of the fact that it's just very, very nicely painted, here's your comparison. And while this one still looks good, like, you can tell Takara put a little bit more effort into their version of it. It still looks great. This is going to be the alternative for a lot of people who really don't want to pay the upcharge for the Netflix version of the toy. Yeah, and it looks really, really nice. Looks really, really nice. What's weird about this one is it comes with Laserbeak, but not Ravage. And I was under the impression that the two were gang molded together. So if you made one, you had to make the other, unless Ravage just got completely tooled out of that mold for some reason. Like, this set is going to retail $110, you know, because it's 3 Voyagers packed in together. So why not just, like, charge an extra $5 and throw in Ravage? Like at that point, what's stopping you? It's a weird choice. It's a very weird choice. By the way, speaking of weird choices, because this is a scene set, they threw in Starscream's throne. Okay. I guess it's Megatron's throne for this one. I guess that's why it's the Bridge of the Nemesis. So it's a lot of weird stuff. It's a lot of weird stuff all thrown together. But it's at least interesting. It's going to provide a nice way of getting like nice looking versions of those 3 toys. And now we get to completely new mold stuff from Takara. For starters, we get Legacy United Silverbolt. This is where I said it was weird that Takara got to announce this toy first before Hasbro acknowledged it. That's kind of rare. It's super weird too. So we saw during News Roundup, we touched on this one because we got like potato quality versions of this photo. And at that time I thought, okay, the wings might look a little bit small, but it definitely still looks very Silverbolt. It does kind of go in with the Kingdom idea of being a little bit more realistic in detail. The head of the beast mode doesn't look quite as cartoonish dog. It just kind of looks like a wolf. And there, you can definitely tell the fur detail is a lot heavier. Like, they went a lot thicker on the sculpting for the fur. Now, we have an alternate angle now where we can see it from the top down. And here the wings actually look fine. I thought they looked a little bit small in that photo. Here they actually look okay. You can also see where the feather missiles are not like launcher attached. They just kind of plug onto the top of the wing, which is fine. Because I guess they're just going to be blade weapons for him in robot mode. And yeah, he looks good. He's got some exposed hinges, but the way this toy is designed, keep in mind, in show, the Fusors transformed far more toy accurately than the season 1 cast. So Silverbolt, in order to be show accurate, kind of has to work the same way the original toy did to an extent. So some of the familiar stuff to his engineering is still present here. So it's going to be a little bit weird. Your bird dog's going to have some exposed hinges, but that's okay. We're not going to begrudge him, because look at this boy. Look at this boy. Look at how good he looks. Oh my God, he looks so good. Oh, he looks fantastic. Again, I see a lot of the details and a lot of the part placement is kind of similar to the original toy, but they do have the wings mounted to the back now instead of over the shoulder. It would be nice if there was a way of getting them over the shoulder. I don't see it here. Like, I don't see like any kind of hinge that would let it swing up so that they could be toy accurate over the shoulders, or so we could aim them forward like you did to attack in the cartoon. But if that is not a thing, I'm not really going to be terribly upset over it. It's going to be one of those, man, I wish I could do that, instead of just appreciating how good this toy is. Oh my god, it looks so nice. The one thing I wish they did, because they did that waffling to the inside of the forearms, the one thing I wish they did was include the dog bone that was hidden in the original toy. That was always one of my favorite little hidden details. But this is so nice. Like, this captures him so well. I'm just going to have Black Arachnia just sitting waiting for her boy. Just waiting for JoJo to get home with the milk. So, really looking forward to that. And again, super weird that Takara gets to announce it before Hasbro. Hasbro hasn't even acknowledged that they're doing it. But we can assume that since this is kind of the thing for most of the new toys, this is probably going to be exactly like the one that we're getting here in the US. So don't be surprised if this just is kind of very representative of what you're going to find on a toy shelf next year. And then we get to the big launch. The big announcement. Behold, we finally have a good-looking Rhinox. Masterpiece Rhinox is revealed and looking absolutely fantastic. They went heavy show accurate with that beast mode. This is not a realistic-looking Rhino in any sense of the phrase. This just straight up looks like the weird CGI model Rhino from 1996. And it's glorious. It's great to have it that way. We can point out, he's got his eyes. It looks like the mouth is articulated. It looks like his ears are ball jointed, which is a great little touch. Also, I want you to notice when we look at the beast mode, all four of his beast mode limbs are actually noticeably small. And if we look at the robot mode, no, he's got big chunky arms and legs. So they have actually managed to give Rhinox this full transformation without resorting to anything that the previous toys did, and to make it come out far more accurate. If we take a look again, I can kind of see where the underbelly is, where that like fake open mouth chest is going to come from. And I can actually see where the rump of the toy, like you can see like above, like where the knee is, it's like really bulged out. That's definitely where the actual foot of this toy seems to generate from, at least as far as I can tell. And then, yeah, he just looks so good. Oh my god, he looks so good. I'm kind of out of Masterpiece, even Beast Wars stuff. I'm like way behind on. I never got Masterpiece Megatron for Beast Wars. Never did. I didn't get Tigatron either. I'm not sure if I would go for Rhinox. I like Rhinox, but I don't know if I Masterpiece price point like Rhinox. But it's cool to see what we're getting. We're getting the Chain Guns of Doom. They're fully decorated, and they aren't flat. They aren't just pancakes with spinny blades on the front like a lot of the mainline toys do. We are getting this. I can't remember. I meant to look up what this was. I recognize it from the show. I can't remember what it is. It was a sensor, I believe. Okay, but whatever. It's cool that they're including little show details and like little props. Always great to see. And then he comes with a spark. Correct me if I am wrong. Is this the first time a Transformers spark has actually been represented in a toy? Because I know we had like spark crystals that were mostly just like how they hid the faction emblems on Transmetal 2s and Beast Machines toys. But I don't recall like having like a physical toy of a spark, especially like a traditional Beast Wars spark. That's actually really cool. It's actually really cool. There's a lot of scenes where you could just plug that in and just like changes the whole vibe of the scene, you know? Megatron standing triumphantly over Optimus Primal is already a scene. When the spark is floating above Primal, it's a very different take. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's just cool. It's just cool. Here's the full accessory loadout. So you've got an adapter for his for a display stand. You've got the sensor. You've got the chain gun of doom, which I don't see like a spinny gimmick on, unless it's just like spin it with your finger. The spark has its own little display stand, and then it has an additional face that, from what I can tell of these, this is the only shot where I can tell that an alternate face is present. I think all it really does is raise his upper lip to expose his front teeth more for talking or yelling poses, you know, like he's doing now. I definitely think it also shows, I'm pretty sure his jaw is articulated too. Yeah, I can see the pin joint in there. So he gets full articulated mouth in both modes. That's actually pretty rare. And then we just get shots of him. There's the scene from, you know, there's a shot, the shot of Primal charging in from the early episodes. And then group shot with Cheetor and Optimus. I'm not sure why Dinobot's not in the scene. Potentially because it might give lie to the scale a little bit, because Rhinox is supposed to be like just a little bit under Dinobot's size, and Masterpiece Dinobot's pretty big, so it might throw off the scale a little bit. But it's weird to see just 3 of the 4 Maximal toys, and that just means we're waiting on Rat Trap. You know, when Rat Trap at the Masterpiece level. So yeah, that's it. That's everything we saw released today. It's a ton of stuff. It is a ton of stuff for collectors to look forward to. Even the repaint stuff is interesting. Even some of that I am actually really looking forward to. So let me know in the comments below, which one are you looking forward to the most? What is your instant grab the second the pre-orders go live? So leave that comment. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons on your way out. It always helps the channel if you haven't done so already. And as always, I will see you next time.
I'm like, I think you guys got this. I will back away, and I will see you all later.
You've got this handled.
Alafi's like, really? You're not gonna help me? Like, it's fine now.
It's like these disgusting creatures breathing down my neck, and you're all just like, I believe in you. You got this.
All right, you seem to have this. 5 minutes.